All my content is found on the public domain. I operate using the Fair Use Act guidelines and the Fair Dealings guidelines. I use my own opinions, thoughts and commentary, which may or may not be true or correct. I am not a medical professional. This is for entertainment purposes and fun, and today, education on mental health. Please like, comment with respect and subscribe. Hello, YouTubers. This is Talk and Tech Mum today. I am having a talk to you about mental health and highlighting a couple of cases or particular diagnoses that may be or may not be applicable to certain members of the royal family. And you know I like to commentate on the royal family as I'm interested in their activities, but there are certain people that acquire a negative attention in the royal family who some people may speculate allegedly that they have been afflicted with certain mental health conditions that are undiagnosed, which is sad. So let's look at these medical conditions that may or may not affect people in the royal family. What is a sociopath? Sociopath is a term used to describe someone who has antisocial personality disorder. And these people with ASPD, antisocial personality disorder, they can't understand other people's feelings. A psychopath and a sociopath are very similar, and they've been grouped together with this ASPD diagnosis. And the reason for this is that they are slightly different in the way they feel about what they do to others, as opposed to what their actual actions are and impulses are. So let's group sociopath and psychopath together. They to be ASPD. So they often break rules, make impulsive decisions without feeling guilty for the harm that they cause. And the ASPD people will also use mind games to control friends, family members, co-workers, and strangers. And in many cases, they can be quite charming or charismatic, so people are attracted to them. So ASPD is a part of personality disorders, which is characterised generally by persistent negative behaviours, and they consistently show lack of regard for other people's feelings or violations of people's rights. People with ASPD may not even realise that they have these behaviours. So if you wanted to diagnose someone, they would need to be over 18. Obviously see a psychiatric specialist, not a mother who's just speculating and talking about mental health education today. So one of the following three traits would need to be displayed by an individual to be considered ASPD. So one, does not respect social norms or laws, so consistently breaking laws or just overstepping boundaries or rules or regulations or guidelines. Two, lies, deceives others, uses false identities or nicknames, or uses others for their own individual personal gain. This information comes from healthline.com. Number three, doesn't make any long-term plans. So these people never really think about what's going to happen as a result of what they're doing, because they're not really thinking ahead, they're just thinking of like the now. Number four, shows aggressive or aggravated behaviour. So these people who get into punch-ups, high operating people with ASPD wouldn't do that, but someone probably operating at a lower level might find themselves in a punch-up constantly with other people, and they don't know why. Number five, doesn't consider their own safety or the safety of others. So they just, again, probably more in a male category as per a female. Number six, doesn't follow up on personal or professional responsibilities. So being late, not paying bills, or just disregarding commitments. And seven, does not feel guilt or remorse for having harmed or mistreated others. So you might be somebody who, and I can give you examples of these. So example, doesn't respect social norms or laws. So you might be a person who arrives in England from another country, for example, America, and despite the customs and expectations of you culturally, you choose not to accept them, and you make a point of not doing that. Lies or deceives. You might be a person who uses other people to, or other aliases to try and create an illusion of what's going on. not guilty, so you may be invited, for example, if I was invited to Balmoral to visit the Queen, I would go. It's not because I have a choice. It means she's summonsing me in the most polite way she can. To not feel bad about that, if I said no, would be really a weird thing. Like, I would have to have an enormously gigantic and good excuse not to go. So, there are other possible symptoms. Just manipulating others, not showing other emotions or what variety of emotions, not being able to keep friendships and relationships, controlling people, using substances. Anyway, so that's ASPD, and they say that that's kind of sociopathic and psychopathic behaviours kind of combined. Unless you're a really highly trained professional, you wouldn't be able to differentiate between the two. But there is therapy and help for these people, which is a really good thing. The other thing I want to educate you on today is narcissistic personality disorder. This is from mayoclinic.org. So it's a mental condition in which people have an inflated sense of their own importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration, troubled relationships, and a lack of empathy for others. But behind this mask of extreme confidence lies a fragile self-esteem that's vulnerable to the slightest criticism. So a narcissistic personality disorder causes problems in many areas of life, such as relationships, work, or school, financial affairs. And they may be generally unhappy and disappointed when they're not given special favours or admiration they in themselves believe that they deserve to have. And they may find relationships unfulfilling, and other people may not actually enjoy being around them. So symptoms: exaggerated sense of self-importance, sense of entitlement, need excessive constant admiration. These people need to be recognised as superior even without achievements that warrant it. They exaggerate their achievements and talents. So, for example, you might have a resume, you might be talking about things you've never actually done, but you believe that you are good enough to have done them. Preoccupied about fantasies of success, power, brilliance, or beauty. So you might be someone who might say, I want to break the internet. Believe they're superior and can only associate with equally special people. So being with lay people and the general commoners and community is not your thing. You'd prefer to be at perhaps something like an opening of The Lion King with celebrities and high-profile individuals with money. They'll monopolise conversations and belittle or look down on people who they perceive as inferior. So they might sort of push their husband out of the way to speak to somebody who they feel is important and overwhelm that conversation. Take advantage of others to get what they want. They're unable or unwilling to recognise needs of others, and come across as conceited, boastful and pretentious, and insist on having the best of everything. So the best car, the best office, the best place to live, the best jewellery, the best Givenchy clothing and handbags, and so on. And they can't cope with criticism. They can become angry, they can feel slighted, and have difficulty regulating their emotions and behaviour. So they're very, very moody and have difficulty controlling that because they feel that they're superior. So that's the wrap. And we've all interacted with different personalities in life, and if we do come across people like this who have mental health problems, who are sociopathic, psychopathic, or have ASPD and narcissism, there is help out there for these people, and it's not really up to themselves to identify it. It's up to the people around them to identify that and seek help for them, professional help, so they can be put on the path to happier life, which is what these people need. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the education tonight, and God bless. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.